Hi Ritash,
Hi, how are
I'm
you?
good, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible.
Hmm.
And if you wish to not show your face, that's also okay.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to figure out how to.
Yeah, I think, it's just that selfie kind of mode. There should be two arrows. Yeah. Or, yeah. Yeah. So I can see you.
Is
Great.
that okay?
Wonderful. Yeah. So you're very visible and
One sec,
audible.
one sec, wait. I think
Sure. Sure.
headset is not connected. Let me try connecting my headset.
Okay. Anyway, I will meanwhile introduce the live, just the welcoming and everything. Okay. So, hi everybody. Welcome to Rang's Insta Live today. We are a pan-India intersectionally queer collective working at the grassroots. Um, we document first-person audiovisual multilingual narratives uh, of intersectionally marginalized persons or people who are associated with intersectionally marginalized persons. And apart from that, we've and one way of doing that is through these Insta lives, which we started around mid-June 2023. Then our collaborator Nathan Sojesk, which does the very tough work of discussing gender and sexuality in schools, and largely works also as a queer trans support collective in Andhra Pradesh, especially in the smaller towns. Uh, they also came on board in December 2023. So after that, we became even more regular. Prior to that, we were doing maybe once a fortnight, once a month. And now, in uh, so essentially, we find that these are ways of visibilizing people who are doing wonderful work silently and but anyway are not very much out in the open about not their identity or something alone, but more about their work and stuff. But I mean, of course, due respects to people who are perhaps queer celebrities, but still we are not particularly focusing on them. And the other thing is, both our groups are very grassroots, unfunded collectives, Nestam and ours. And we actually also provide legal and healthcare referrals. I am Ritash, one of the co-founders of Rang, and I am also, an intersectional queer person. I'm gender fluid and asexual, and I'm also a trained peer counselor. I can do it in multiple languages, and also, one of our founders is a Dalit trans man and a practicing lawyer at the Calcutta High Court, Ankan Biswas. So yeah, so similarly, but yet it's not so much about just having people who are litigators, counselors, or practicing physicians, but more importantly, having the required sensitivity. Okay. So today we are very delighted to welcome Vaishali Kambli. Uh, Vaishali is a geologist and works as a project manager. Sorry, I cannot pronounce the name of your company easily. Sorry, the
Yeah, it's
organization.
Kindrel. It's
Sorry.
Kindrel. Like how do you say Benadryl? The same way
Oh,
it's
okay,
Kindrel.
Kindrel.
Yeah.
All right, all
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I got it right or not. I thought there was another R in between. So anyway,
No,
okay,
it's
cool.
Kindrel. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so today we are going to talk about how um, gender and caste plays out in STEM disciplines, but also apart from that, Vaishali, in the introduction that she shared with me about herself, said about, chosen families, and that is very vital in fact, the thing is that, perhaps that has become more prominent now, but I think chosen families were always part of some people's lives, many of our lives, and then they play a very vital role in some of our lives, for whom chosen families matter, and more so in the lives of intersectional queer trans persons. They are, let me say, I don't have statistics, and I don't even want to say they are more the norm than the exception, but yet many of our people, despite all affirmative laws, policies, so much of awareness, and queer trans cultures are indigenous to South Asia for, I don't know, millennia maybe. Yet, there's still so much hate, so much of pathologizing, yeah, continuing, and exclusion, violence, unfortunately. So, yeah, over to you, Vaishali. This will be a freewheeling chat. And you can also choose not to answer something or ignore something if you want to. No pressure.
Sure, yeah.
But again, very grateful and glad that you agreed to speak. And, just want to ask you a little bit about, first of all, if I've introduced you properly or not. And yeah, and also anything if I have left out. Yeah, please,
No, no, the
accept my,
introduction is perfect.
yeah,
Introduction
accept
is
my
perfect
apology.
because I'm a geologist by education,
Mm,
but by profession I'm a project manager.
okay.
So it's yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
when
please
I said
continue.
about found family, right,
Mm,
Ritash? So
mm,
found family or something, or what you call it, chosen families,
mm,
are something everybody has. It's not just, I'm not talking about a queer person or anything. It can be straight people as well because no, not everybody is comfortable with their family. So sometimes we choose. So your friends become family, or maybe some of your coworkers become family because that's where you can be 100% yourself. Like that's where you can be yourself, your true self. You can be 100%, and that's where you feel comfortable. So yeah, they play the major part in your life because they make your life bearable, they make your life worth living, and they give you hope. They really give you hope to, look. Uh, I mean, can't say, yeah. I mean, to look forward to the next day. That okay. So you feel that there are people who are there with me. There are people who are standing with me, and that's the reason you look up to every day.
Fantastic. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, actually, yeah, what I meant was, I think for many of us, chosen families are there irrespective of our identity per se, but I
Correct.
think
Hmm.
it has become more, what do you say, those terms or that awareness
Hmm.
seems to be, that's all I meant. But
Yeah.
thank you for saying that and sharing. Because, yeah, found family is another way of putting it, chosen, whatever, yeah. And just want to know, and it's nice that you said, at work, through workplaces also you find, because many of us have different experiences, and not everybody has that kind of a, what do I call it, except with a couple of people, has
Yeah.
a very, anything beyond a formal or a cordial relationship with colleagues. Yeah. But anyway, and project management, wherever you're doing. For instance, I am originally from an IT background. I studied computer
Mm-hmm.
science and engineering, worked for 14 years. Actually, my last position was a project manager after I quit the
Oh
industry.
wow.
Yeah,
Where was that?
this was at IBM in India.
Hmm. Oh
So
really?
Yeah, yeah. So I quit in 2009 because I wanted to pursue other interests, especially writing. But anyway, so, nevertheless, wherever you're a project manager, yes, you have, some kind of, a say, I won't say, I don't know, it's somewhere between friends and colleagues, sort of, you're more than colleagues, but it depends,
Yeah.
yeah, whether you really befriend each other. But sometimes it works out very well. So, but this is interesting and intriguing when you said that you can even find chosen family there. Again, it's not an exception. I'm not trying to, exoticize it.
No,
But
no, I'm not
if you,
saying it's for everybody or
yeah, yeah.
like every colleague is your found family.
Mm,
It's chosen. I'm not saying like out of say 50, 60 colleague of yours, one person or maximum two people might be
right.
very close because finally we are colleagues, right? We are not like friends or a year. So yeah, somewhere that rivalry is there, somewhere, and no, but I have felt like I have been working for how many years now? 2005, so that would be like 20 years.
20 years, huh?
So yeah, so people, even though you say that you're from IT or whatever, like I mean, yeah, I'm also in the same field. People say that okay, people are very liberal and all that, but then behind that, there is somewhere which is a sly way of asking people their caste, their religion or their beliefs, and then you're judged. I mean, yeah, you're judged basically, and then they decide whether to be close with you or keep some distance from you. So it is there. It's not that what people from distance people may feel it is liberal, but it's when you actually work in that industry, you feel that okay, it's not that liberal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fantastic. That's a very vital point. And as I said, I can relate to that completely because I worked in the industry here and, briefly projects abroad I was sent and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. You can, of course, yeah, I was also saying that you can probably befriend a couple of people, maybe among so many. And
Mhm.
again, sometimes it can become quite personal, the relationship, which is great sometimes, but often certain other things either take priority or sometimes other aspects come in between, those professional relationships becoming, friendships and stuff like that, or even beyond. But
Mhm.
this is a very important point that you made. Again, something which we are aware of, but I think many don't want to accept.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like elephant in the room we tend to
Correct,
ignore, but I
correct.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And about the caste issue, okay. I mean, not
Hmm.
just caste is an issue, but caste itself, how it plays out and how they try to find out and also, decide not just about, whether they want to be, you know, even cordial towards you, but kind of not use it against you because of their biases, and which is casteism in every way. But, not that sexism is majorly accepted or, whatever. But the way, especially as you said, IT, corporate industries, corporate workplaces,
Hmm.
uh, see, there is the posh act and, training and everything else. And DEI has been, to me, it's nothing but a buzzword. Okay, it has been there for some time. But again, the rollbacks or the purported rollbacks notwithstanding, actually, it is in a way sort of sad that somebody has to tell adults, yeah, that oh, we need DEI, we must respect diversity, we must be inclusive, okay, and also especially about how caste is and casteism is downplayed. Even if say that very vital research and even the cases against Cisco and all in Silicon Valley Bay Area, whatever, because the headquarters of Cisco are there. Or, in fact, I think Equality Labs sort of came out with surveys and not surveys, an integrated study, um, sorry, a comprehensive study. I remember maybe a decade ago, a similar study came out in India also. It so happened that one of the authors of the study, I mean, like I know her, but I did not know that she was involved in it till I saw the publication. Okay,
Okay.
one of the
Yeah.
persons. Yeah. So essentially, this whole thing about how insidiously caste works in the corporates, or for that matter, any of the STEM disciplines. I mean, I'm not saying any other disciplines like the humanities or liberal arts or anything is free from it.
It plays everywhere. It
It's
doesn't
yeah,
matter which field.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
inherent.
yeah.
And one of the reasons, why I feel that, because see, okay, so I don't know. I'm just telling you this. So,
Sure.
okay, so my my grandparents is intercaste marriage. Okay, my both the grandparents, maternal, paternal, my parents, and all that. But then, see, even though it was intercaste love marriage, still, as a child, my siblings and I, we faced a lot of discrimination because my mother was of a lower caste. You can't even say lower caste or whatever. I mean, they used to feel that she belongs to a lower caste, and because they're Brahmins, so we siblings were of we were a bit lower to them, and because of that, we faced a lot of discrimination. Okay, so discrimination starts from home. Since childhood, you have been taught about your caste, I mean, all these things, and usually, in India, what happens is we stay in a bubble in the sense like we stay in a home. We try to stay in a homogeneous society. So I will try to be around with people of my caste, people of my stature, and everything. So we are at least till teens or till you join college and all. We are insulated from the real world. Like now because of internet we see a lot of things, but then back when I was studying, I'm talking about 80s, late, yeah, I passed out in 90, right, like my bachelor's. So then newspaper was the only medium, and television also, the news used to be there. So this caste based violence, gender based violence, and everything were uh, they were not so much discussed. They were not so much out in open. They used to be, if they were like some, violence to the next level, then it used to be a big news, the newspaper and all, like what happened in Kerala and all. But otherwise, or with Bobby Devi, what happened? That is to be the news. But otherwise, everything used to be hush hush, especially when we talk about posh or workplace sexism. That was never discussed. In fact, it was assumed that based on your position or hierarchy, the other people are the expected to be docile. Okay, so even if a boss tries to do some advances, uh, the subordinate was expected to ignore it or maybe try to be okay with it. Now we've been and now okay, D and I, we need to be taught because we as a society, we are into this that okay, my caste, your caste, this caste, then comes like, after the caste it will become the state, then the region, and so many things. So we have to imbibe on people, and I don't think even imbibing that matters because there's so much of unconscious bias. It's very difficult to train people to leave their unconscious bias. It's very difficult.
Yeah, and that's true. Yeah, again, the power positional imbalance is even worse. That, so not that the existence of the Posh Act or even all those trainings has done wonders, anything
Hmm.
like that. And but in terms of caste, okay, uh,
Hmm.
SCST PO Act again supposed to be very strong and whatever. And it's now what, 89, so almost like 35 years, or 36 years since. But yet, and it is supposed to be overarching, right? Not only workplace or anywhere
Yeah.
it's not allowed. But yet,
Yes.
I mean, at least on the Posh this thing act, probably because it's workplace this thing, and although it is only very cisgender specific, yet at least there is some awareness, some this thing. On the caste front, or for that matter, even there is discrimination because some of these are very obvious. So none of that is even taken seriously. Not only is not taken seriously, no one admits. Very coolly, I've heard even now so many people saying, "Oh, in India there is no casteism,"
No,
which
no,
itself
there
a very
is. Yeah.
oh, there is no. I mean, does it need things like lynchings regularly? It is so shameful, so outrageous for people to know that these things happen, and yet, people keep denying that, especially, in academic institutions or in corporate workplaces. Oh, all that will happen in government institutions, So, how ridiculous is that? So, yeah, and would you like to comment a little bit on that?
No, it happens. It happens everywhere. Government institutions. And see, even though if I have to go and complain to you, okay, example, if I say that, okay, uh, like somebody from one of my colleagues tried to take advantage or sexual advance or something. If I have to come to you and say it, maybe, or even as a civilian, if I have to go to a police and say that, okay, somebody, tried to sexually assault me or whatever, the person who takes a complaint, he or she, they have a bias first and foremost. Because if I go and complain, then they will start first, finding faults with me, saying, being a lady, they will first look at me, what am I wearing, what time did it happen, where did it happen, why was I meeting that person, or how did we get, like, how do we know each other, and so many questions. So will they ask up? I mean, they never think that it can happen. I can be at. I mean, there can be a zero fault of mine, and the other person, the man or the men can do it. They are the perpetrators, and rather than asking me questions or rather than judging me, they should ask them, they should contact them. They don't do that. So while taking the complaint, that's the first, there are so many hurdles which we have to go through before we actually reach that complaint stage. And the next stage of actually investigation, that's like way further. So a person who goes, approaches the authority, the correct authority, that person has to think 10 times before you go there, because there are so much of judging and so much of self explanation which we have to do, which is actually not needed. Like, even people ask, like, suppose if I go and complain the next day that yesterday was great, they'll be like, what were you doing the whole day? But then, there are, everybody is built in a different way. Everybody's meant, listen, I, not everybody can immediately go and complain. So you need some time. You need to give time to yourself at times to come to the terms that in fact indeed you are raped. So it takes time. You can't just say that, okay, I was raped, and immediately next moment you go to police, or next moment you reach out to someone and say that, okay, please file a complaint. No, you can't do that. So you have to give time. And the person who is coming to you for help, you should be sympathetic towards the person. But it's the other way around in India.
Oh yes, totally, totally. I mean, oh yeah, the first thing, compassion, sympathy, empathy. I mean, they say, oh, that is limited to certain this thing, and even those people, uh, and this is not to what do you call justify or something, but the common
Mhm.
justification given for people not taking action is because you're up against someone more
Correct.
powerful,
Yeah.
or yeah, or or no, if I support you who was a survivor of whatever sexual harassment, caste based discrimination, then my what do you call position would be under threat and all that, or my position, my job, my whatever, my existence.
Yep.
But that is no excuse, and more so especially if you are in a position which is responsible for handling such things. Yeah, like especially say in posh committees also, and why even
Mhm.
in private, I mean in educational institutions, which I think should also be extended to other institutions like work, because educational institutions are workplaces for certain people. They are,
Yeah, yeah. True, true, true.
places of study for certain people. So over there we have the SEST cell, but that again does not mean that they're doing anything great about it, because there is inherent casteism, and not only even in the people who are in the cell, unfortunately, like there is all this fear that, oh, I will also for supporting somebody. But it is ridiculous,
True.
because if you are a member of that committee or the cell or whichever,
You
you
are
should.
supposed to be, yeah, you're supposed to take action.
Right, right, yeah. So that apart, now I mean, uh, yeah, you said you studied geology, which is, of course, a very special, I mean, sorry, not really special, and very niche discipline, okay? And whether you pursued it or not is a different thing, your choice. But when you studied,
No,
okay.
I couldn't pursue. The reason I couldn't pursue was
Mm,
back when I completed my master's in 92.
mm,
I did I did geology. I mean, I did my master's with thesis. Okay, I did dissertation. So that was remote sensing, and I basically wanted to go for petroleum geology. But then in those days, back in 92, women were not allowed on
yeah.
rigs. Okay, so if you're not allowed on this, of course, I couldn't get a job. And I tried for a year, and then I was like, okay, I need to find some other, avenue to start working. And that is the time. Then I had to move to computers, and I had to do my diploma and other things. So geology is still my passion, but now see now they're allowing. But yeah, now my age is gone. But back when I studied, they were not allowing women.
Okay, yeah, good, because you actually answered the question that I was coming up with. How is it for a person, uh, for a woman who studied geology, and I mean, I'll even go a step further. Even when you were studying, did you face gender-based discrimination? Because you can't study, especially you can't do masters without having some kind of work with I'm not exactly calling it exploration, excavation, but whatever it is called. Did you even face bias there, and were there
Yeah, yeah, there is, there is. See, because what happens is geology is study of earth.
earth?
So when you are going on field, right? When you're going on field, you're all alone there in the wilderness. So I remember when I went to my professor to be a guide. So he was like, okay, I am okay with it, but then you need somebody with you because you can't go alone in wilderness. My research area was in Karnataka. So he said in rural areas, forget about rural because, I mean, apart from rural, you are going to some hills and everywhere.
True.
There, who's going to be there with you? Because if somebody comes, because you're all alone and people, because I could read and write Kannada, but speaking was a challenge. And secondly, the thing is, he said that's the main challenge because because once people know that you don't speak the language, that's the major handicap. And if somebody does anything, then what will you do? And you have to go and stay in that inspection bungalows or some small places where because you're going from village to village and outside outskirts. So he was not willing to take me alone. I mean, he was like, then when you're going, either you take somebody from your class or somebody from your family. You have to take a guy with you. You can't go alone. So that's the major thing which we face.
Oh yes, right. And I remember when I was applying for engineering, that time computer science and engineering was still new in India, but it was there
Mhm.
only in certain.
I can't hear you. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Sorry,
sorry.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no,
Hmm.
no, no issues. Even I got a call which I had to reject, so that's why it
Hmm.
froze very briefly. So anyway, I was stunned when I saw, somewhere this thing about, like, for instance, there used to be this mining engineering in some of the institutions, very few.
Yeah,
Most
yeah,
in
yeah.
fact,
Hmm.
Indian Institute of Mines, Dhanbad was also there,
Mine done bad. Yeah. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
they automatically said that women or girls cannot apply, should not apply
Yeah,
automatically.
yeah, I know. I was yeah, during my time, so I know. So we can't. And in fact, after my master's, I had to do internship, which I did with Atomic Mineral Division, and I was the only one from Pune who went to Bodal. Bodal was that time there was no Chhattisgarh state. Okay, that
Yeah,
was
right.
Madhya
I
Pradesh.
remember. Yeah.
So yeah, so at that time I was so Bodal is a town. It's a small village which is nearby to Rajnandgaon, or maybe it's near Durg and Bhilai and all that side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I had been there, and while I mean there also they were like the chief geologist was there on site. He used to be like, "Oh, you can't go alone. You don't do this. You don't do that." And
Oh
then he
my
used to tell
gosh.
people, "Okay, you carry this, you carry that. She will do only this. She will only that." But then I mean, it was like I see. I was capable of doing things what all the men are doing, right? Because just because I'm a girl, I can't. I mean, there were no physically. I didn't have any challenges. I was
Yeah.
able-bodied, able mind, and everything was there. But then no, just because I was a woman, it's been like, oh, don't do this. Oh, don't do that. Oh, don't use this hammer. It's very heavy. And I mean, for them, a woman was only fit in the laboratory, not in the
Oh
field.
my god.
And that yeah, so then again, I was like okay with it because he was much old. He was almost my father's age. So I mean, maybe the police.
Yeah, that's right. These
It
are these
happens.
very
Yeah.
paternalistic attitudes which they say, oh, we're telling you out of genuine concern and care,
Yeah.
which,
Exactly.
yeah, which is
Hmm.
itself even more ridiculous because, yeah. Anyway, right. And then thanks for, openly sharing that. And I'm not saying it might, there's also this Indian Institute of Petroleum and all that. But, yeah, and I'm not saying much of it. Why? Even in our generation, I remember, because I'm also 51 and finished my engineering in 91, sorry, 95. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I remember in mechanical engineering or civil engineering there'll be very
Oh,
few girls and women.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There's a funny anecdote. Okay, so my brother was doing production engineering.
mm,
My brother is almost, no, he's almost your age.
mm,
So he had forgotten some journal or something, and he didn't realize it. So I took it and I thought that I should go and give it. Okay, so I went to his college and I was asking because of course I had never been to that college, so I didn't know. And I was just asking where is third year production people and all that. And oh my God, you could see the guy shouting, "Hey, there's a girl to meet Samir! There's a girl to meet Samir!" And
oh
I
my,
was like,
yeah.
there's just one girl in his entire class. Can you
My gosh.
imagine?
Yeah, I know. And then, yeah, and then I don't think that has changed too much now.
No, no, not much,
And
not
yeah,
much.
right. And also, did you see casteism then? I mean, I'm sure it's not gone
Yeah,
away.
yeah, of course, it is there.
Yeah.
It is there. It is. Uh, I mean, yeah, it is there. I experienced it, and it was there when I studied. And in fact, I told my daughter also because I passed out from Pune University. Now it's become
Full.
Savitribai Phule Pune
Huh.
University, so STPU. So
Yeah.
my daughter, she passed out like 2, 3 years ago. So in fact, when she joined, I told her the same thing. I said, see, there is casteism, there is a lot of casteism, and the politics is just because of the casteism.
Mm.
So please treat very carefully. She's like, no, but then that was your times. Now there are no castes, and I mean, it's not so much. We don't, at least like, we don't ask caste and everything, before becoming friends and all. I said that is different, but remember my words, remember. And I actually told her, and then when she started studying and all, then she realized because my husband is he is from he is what is it other backward category OBC.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so of course I mean she had to like on the form you write right you belong to OBC and other things. So she had written that and yeah I mean she realized I mean she understood that there is casteism still like which she thought would have been eradicated since my mom started 30 years ago, but it is still there.
Yeah. Yeah. Rampant,
Mhm.
actually. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, it is, it is. In
regularly.
fact,
Hmm.
I am telling you that, so as I told you, mine is a caste marriage. I am Lingayat and my husband is OBC. So back when we were studying, like I was studying, so I have two brothers. So my younger brother had some issues like difficulties for studies. He had some issues. Uh, so my mother used to go and get books from the notebooks from the children, other children, like from the teacher, and she used to come home and we used to copy down and return the books. That is to happen. So I remember the teacher telling my mom that we have to help ours, okay? Ours in the sense the caste,
Ah.
okay? And for me, that is, I mean, as a child, it's something which you want to question, but then the thing is you can't question the teacher. So I had questioned my mother, and my mother said she's giving the books, so you just keep your mouth shut, don't ask questions.
Right. Right.
Because she and basically because I was telling my mother that you are not Brahmin, right? You are of a different caste, but still she's telling you that we should help ours. So maybe my mother needed the help desperately, so she didn't say much with this caste and everything. But yeah, I mean, I have seen that, I have felt that. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then, as
it
you
is
said,
there, it is there. And back when we were studying, like I'm from Pune. So Pune is everybody knows that right from Peshwa's time and all casteism is there.
right.
But
Right.
so in my school, I studied in a Marathi school. Okay, so
Mm.
in my school, based on caste, there used to be divisions. Okay? So there used to be A and B division. So in my class, we were 84 students. Imagine out of 84 girls, only one girl was non-Brahmin.
Ah. Okay.
Okay? Yeah. And the teachers also, like it used to be the cream de la creme. Teachers used to be for A division because they used to filter everything out and then they used to make us study on Saturdays and Sundays also, on holidays also, and they used to teach us extracurricular things because that's the upper caste and whatever batch. So you study, I mean, some, uh, according to the norms of those days. So you had to, they used to teach us cooking things, clean, then embroidery and lot of things, gardening and everything you had to learn by coming on Sundays. And Monday to Saturday used to be school.
Oh my gosh, I mean,
But
there is
yeah,
no end to how all this is
and
done. And
this is yeah, caste and then see that's why you when we say that there is no casteism or something because such people move around within their circle, right? So if move around with just Brahmins, of course there won't be any casteism because they're just us who are going to be castes against each other. Nobody. And it's the same thing. So if somebody else says there's no casteism, you are in a circle which is say OBCs or SCs or STs. So there is no you don't feel casteism. I mean
right, right.
that's the reason people say there is no casteism because
Mm.
you are in a homogeneous group where
True,
there is
true.
no
Yeah, right, right. And also, I mean, thanks for sharing all this. I hope I'm not rekindling, painful memories. But
no no no
also,
no.
yeah, I'm returning to
In
something
fact, you
very.
should relive those memories so that you remind yourself of how not to be like them and how to be
Oh,
different.
yeah, that is lovely and such a touching way of putting it. And I also remember that early on you said that, especially in intercaste relationships, it starts at home. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
And much is also one of the say partners, spouses in the relationship faces is the children out that I think face it in a different way, and at times like you said, you don't know why it's happening, who's doing, what does it even mean. Plus also, just like you say, they say, don't question the teacher. They'll say don't question the elders, put up with it and all
Yeah.
that nonsense. And sometimes it's not nonsense alone. It's easy to call it nonsensical approach, but obviously, someone who's telling you that is because they have survived, casteism so much that they. It's like we read or we've read so many and heard that how sometimes right from a very young age not only you're made to realize, otherwise you try to hide your caste, right? You
Yeah.
try
People
in,
do that. Hmm.
yeah, whether it's just not just through the name, through the food habits, through the everything, right? And it is and which is why it is tragic, but sometimes understandable if people either discontinue their studies or attempt self harm. And that is so in fact shameful, because what is even, like, returning to the same thing, what is the point in all these cash or posh committees, or SCST cells and stuff like that, where neither the peers nor the faculty does anything. And the whole, I mean, I'm not saying that there's no discrimination earlier, but at least in colleges and universities, when people supposedly come for higher studies, there's nothing, so advanced about them. Just because they are, say, doing a master's or PhD, doesn't mean that they are in any way so-called progressive. And yeah, it
No,
is,
no, 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 no. It
yeah,
doesn't matter. Like
yeah,
even if you become a director of an institution, still your biases are the same.
yeah,
Your thought process is the same. Nothing changes. In fact, it becomes more and more rigid
exactly,
rather
yeah,
than
yeah, right, right. And they have the audacity to say, if a subaltern caste person is rising up, they will have all kinds of allegations against them, and then as if that's
yeah, they'll
not enough.
put all possible obstacles in the course so that that person
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah, yeah.
rise.
First they'll say, "Oh, this person came with reservations. Oh,
Yeah.
this, that." Just
Hmm,
like,
hmm, hmm,
just
hmm.
like the shameless and the very sexist thing which says, "Oh, this person sleeps around." That is why. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, that is not gone at all. That attitude, it is there in corporates. It's there in academic institutions. It's there everywhere. And also, just want to come to one more point, which you were saying about, you said you studied in a Marathi school, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
studied in Marathi schools. My
Yeah.
father was in government servant, so we used to get transferred. Uh, so not everywhere you had good schools. So
Correct.
the first
Yeah.
when I was young, he had put me in a Marathi school, which continued, and wherever the government used to give you the seat, we had to go to that school. So there was nothing. And then now, yeah, now you have a lot of schools and a lot of private schools and so many options. Back when I studied, like uh, I am 56. Okay, so back when I studied my 74 and all, there were not so many schools. So
Yeah. Yeah, and also thanks for giving these details, because again, as if this is not enough, the linguistic this thing, as in, you may, I mean, for instance, you all people may be speaking the same language, they may be speaking that as the mother tongue or whatever, but once you're not from English medium, not only that the privilege is lesser, or the access to thing, you are again typecast. Oh, this is not an
yeah,
like, right. So yeah, I mean, the kinds of insidious inherent see, we have nothing, I have nothing against linguistic pride, okay,
no,
though.
no, no, it is there, it is there. Like, especially, I mean, now if you see, back when I studied, or maybe even when you must have studied, uh, there were not so many English schools. Okay, there
Yeah.
were few convents and few English schools. Now even in Pune, where they say that Pune is Marathicha Mayargar, or the place from where the Marathi, like standard Marathi and whatever we say, here also a lot of Marathi schools, especially even my school, the Marathi medium is almost closing, and now and whatever the remaining like part of the school is become English medium. So and people look down upon you if you say that, okay, I'm from Marathi medium.
Yeah, yeah, that is what. Right, yeah. That is so important that you said it. That the levels and the layers of so, like, even if you are, say, from a middle class background and stuff like that, or almost middle class, none of these things are out so much, and it's a different kind of trauma which stays with you for such a long time, almost lifelong. And most of the time, have we spend consciously, unconsciously, sometimes, or subconsciously, in trying to not only hide it, be ashamed of it. And it, because it takes a lot for somebody to instill that, and also cope with, I mean, and to also to be able to cope with it, right, when there are lesser or fewer options, and that kind of, as you say, in the 70s and 80s, where were this, why 80s, even up to 90s, this so-called enabling affirmative environments, in any of this wasn't there, even in the larger towns and cities,
No,
so
no.
not to say that there's
Well,
anything that
at least
has
I
everything.
feel that I'm privileged. Okay, I am privileged to uh, study till masters,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so my father and my grandmother basically, more than my father. So my grandmother and my mother, they played major roles, and my maternal grandparents also, they played major role in making sure that even though I'm studying in Marathi school, I learn English. They taught me English since I was in first standard. They made me learn, they made me read and all these things. So I'm privileged, okay? So not everybody is privileged
yeah,
from Marathi school. So it is, I mean, I am where I am because of their efforts and because I had the privilege to be with them, and people who are not everybody's family. Like some people are first generation postgraduates, first generation graduates. Like my grandparents, my both my grandmoms were graduate, my grandparents, fathers were postgraduates. So there lies the privilege, because if you come from the family, they will give their knowledge to you. They will impart their knowledge. If your parents have not studied, of course, they can't impart. I mean, you have to learn everything on your own. You have to put so much of efforts, which I didn't have to. Everything was like handed, I mean, given to me on a silver platter. I'm not saying I did not have my struggles, but bit trivial compared to if you compare somebody who is coming from rural background or somebody who is, from oppressed castes. Imagine being a girl from a oppressed caste and then going against all odds and then studying to be an engineer or to complete their masters and all. Hats off to their efforts, which seriously, I don't think oppressor caste people would put so much effort. I don't know, they may, I'm not denying that, but what grit and what efforts they are putting, they are doing it. It's really great. I mean, we're much
Yeah.
privileged.
Uh, Yeah, Vaishali, also thanks for saying that, because you're saying that amidst all the discrimination that you faced, multiple
Hmm.
layers, and at a time when, there were not many options or opportunities, still you are, because many times we forget whatever privileges we have, right? Though, as you said, studying in a Marathi school, and then the caste discrimination, gender-based discrimination, based because of the subject that you chose, which itself is rare, and much of it still persists. But
Hmm.
yes, we must, sort of. Acknowledge our privileges, whether they, and because many times privilege is such a kind of a de facto thing that we like, oh, I am not privileged, or I did not have this, I did not have that, is what many times we're saying. But in the scenarios that we see, I think it's important that sometimes, amidst all the discrimination, exclusions that we are facing, or the stereotyping, these privileges are what perhaps help us sort of sail through. And thanks for that. uh, and you were saying about, of course, with the queer trans community and stuff like that. But in, uh, sort of, I think you're not pursuing geology that much now, but you are in touch with what is happening in the field over there. I mean, is it fair to ask you any specific efforts to
Yeah,
ensure that?
I read blogs of geology, or if I go to places, I try to collect the stones from there. I try to read
Wow.
like what kind of stone would be there. I try to visit the museums. I do that because it's a passion, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So I'm privileged because I still can do that.
Right,
It's all
right.
because of my privileges, nothing else. Because
Yeah.
I am still in touch with my teachers and classmates, and I do get to know. So
Yeah, but in terms of gender, has it opened up, like, more towards women and all that, geology as a profession, or even, forget about your profession, even studying geology, right? Do you think you're
no, still
hearing
not
a
many
lot?
women pursue that.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah.
And
I think
especially in India, see what happens is wherever you get good jobs, good opportunities, people flock there. So
naturally, yeah,
it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But on the other side, I think, because of, just because of the mineral wealth that we have in some parts of the country, which I
Hmm.
know now is going into all the wrong hands and everything. There is,
That will be another session, I
correct,
guess.
correct, yeah. But yeah, that's what. No, the thing is about how they promote a particular discipline, because actually on one side you will find that there'll be a dearth of people who are specialists, and who are able to, yeah,
Hmm.
for that matter, even archaeology and those kind of disciplines,
Yeah.
which are very niche, which are still supposedly rare, but which are actually very necessary because you need people who are going to do that sustained, not just research and study, but create awareness about how, not only that the discipline is important, but just about what is the, geographical, physical realities of the terrain of this country that, we need to probably protect and preserve, right? Yeah, so I think it is so important to, yeah. But just want to go a little bit, I know it's an hour we've been speaking, so I will not keep you too long. But I just want to know a little bit about, in the kind of the job that you're doing now or even otherwise. Uh, uh, what are your, what do you call, what do you, what, not enchant you, sorry, what drives you in the sense that, yes, I have come with certain privileges but faced extreme discrimination. So and it is not easy to kind of do away with it, especially in corporate workspaces. But what is it that you do or you try to do, either at the workplace or even otherwise? Because I know that you said that you're very keen and you're a supporter of various.
Yeah, so uh, in my company, I support neurodiversity
Fantastic.
and
Yeah.
I support, we have LGBTQI. There's a kin, we say kin in the sense the group name. So we call it kin. Kin as in kinship. So
Okay.
from kindred, kinship is kin. So it is called embrace, which is LGBTQI
Friendly.
people group. Yeah, it's not friendly. It's a group of queer people
Oh,
and allies.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Got that. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I do that. I'm part of a global steering committee for allies, and I do that. And apart from that, like if there is a women's team, I conduct sessions. I mean, I don't conduct, but I I try to get colleagues from our my company only and get for various specialties like yoga or finance or something and conduct sessions for women or and whatever is possible. I try to do that.
Okay, lovely. And that is so important because I know I started following you on Twitter and then yet here we are. I mean, as I say, many of
I
the.
got to know you because of Asma. You used to interact with Asma.
Ah, all right. Okay, lovely. Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
And yeah, and also that even otherwise, many of the people that we invite to the Insta Lives are people who I connect with, who we connect with serendipitously. I'm saying I because most of the time these people are like, I am bored of hearing my voice and I don't mind doing it, but it'd be nice if others were like, no, 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 you do it.
Hmm.
So yeah, and then we've managed to connect with people in multiple countries also. So
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah. If you see any of our Insta Live recordings, we've talked with people from black trans people from South Africa, people who are what do you call, um, people with disabilities, people who are indigenous communities, fourth generation migrants, and those kind of things.
In
Yeah,
fact, we should have a session with uh, intersectionality, like a person who is neurodiverse as well as who's queer and neurodiverse, or is
yeah,
neurodiverse and PWD or something
yeah.
like that, because their experiences will be very different and literally eye-opening for us. Because if you hear their experience, you will feel that, I mean, at least I will feel that I have heard their experiences. So I feel that what I call, I went through this discrimination or whatever was nothing in the sense literally zero, because they face so much every day and they've been facing it since they were
Yeah,
born. So imagine
yeah,
day in, day out, if you're facing the discrimination, then we are nowhere.
yeah, yeah. No, no. I am neurodivergent myself. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Oh, I was not aware.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so you realize these terms and these things only much later, especially for our generation. We've Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
and I have what we are called multiple invisible disabilities also, because being
Hmm.
having multiple disabilities itself is pretty tough. Invisible is inner
Invisible is
worse,
yeah.
because you have to tell people what it is and why. Yeah, so I don't openly talk about it much, but I have disclosed it in my handle and certain other things. But
Hmm.
yes, I am very I mean, sorry, I am very much neurodivergent and have invisible disabilities, which yeah, I have lived with from childhood, obviously, yeah, and which I did not realize that that there are these
Yeah. Back
terms.
in when we were kids, it was. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I mean,
people were not even aware. You can't even
correct.
blame our parents or something. They were not even aware
Yeah.
about it.
See, in a society like ours, which has
Hmm.
inherent diversity, unfortunately, still these things are, there's no affirmation or very little affirmation and awareness. Whereas in diverse societies, you hope that, such things are easier to handle, but no, it's such a contradiction. Even today, talking about mental health is so difficult, right? Even there's so much judgment, there's so much of, exclusion,
Yeah, yeah.
such insensitivity fundamentally, right? And
No,
yeah,
I'm telling you. See, my brother has Parkinson's.
yeah,
Okay? So he got that's called young onset of Parkinson because in early 40s he got Parkinson's.
okay,
So this experience I'm telling you is because when he goes to Limans for his treatment because his movement disorder specialist is there. So Pune airport when he was doing the security check, of course with Parkinson's you have tremors. They thought he is on drugs or something,
oh my,
and they did so much of like so many questions they posed, and he was telling them that okay, this is because of Parkinson. They were not even trying to understand. I mean, they were not understanding, and because of the Hindi language problem, he couldn't explain what Parkinson is. And then finally, they took him to the superior. He showed his files. Yeah, I have this and all. And luckily, the superior understood, and then they let him go. Now, my brother is so much traumatized that he doesn't travel alone by flight.
oh,
Somebody is there, he goes. Otherwise, he goes by bus to Bangalore. Because on bus, of course, nobody will. There's no security check in or all. You will just get it.
oh, okay, oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, that, thank you for sharing that. That is so painful to hear, but it is shameful, and even people with in wheelchairs. Yeah, I mean, where are the inclusive spaces, right, for people with?
No.
Yeah,
In fact, see, you should get, like, I always say that for the people who are in transition, okay, like for a transition undergoing, yeah, in between transition, you have to, like, your sensitization should start, it shouldn't be top down, it should be down and top because
yeah,
you come in contact daily with the security people, you come in contact with the facilities people. So those are the people who should be made aware, not the CEO or something, because you don't go and say hi to CEO day in, day out, you know.
right,
Yeah, because during transition they say, okay, your photo is not matching this. Why are you using this look? Why are you not using other look? Why are you dressed in a way what you are? So if you don't sensitize them, then if you sensitize the managers, it doesn't make sense because you have to cross this barrier and then go to the manager.
right, right. Yeah, I know. I've been part of sensitization sessions where we talk with, different levels of the staff, and also
Mhm.
multiple languages. Because many times security people or say pantry,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. They
to
understand the local language. Yeah, I had conducted a session in
yeah,
Marathi because I in one company because I told my friend, so she underwent transition and all, and she faced a lot of issues. So she asked me, "Will you come to my company?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And then I conducted sessions in Marathi because for them, local language is the best language when in which you can explain. If I go and explain in English or any other language, it won't make that much
That,
impact. But if I go and tell them in
yeah,
Marathi, then they can relate to it
yeah,
better.
sure, sure. Yeah. So, yeah, it's almost 9:40 now. I don't want to hold you further, but
Yeah,
this has been,
my grandchildren have come, my niece has
yeah,
come, so yeah, I
yeah.
would.
So, correct, correct. Yeah.
He came and saw whom am I speaking with. He must have seen in peeping also.
Yeah. Oh, a little bit. I just heard
Mm,
the words, but the voice.
yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much. And anything you want to add or suggest or ask, otherwise we can end the session quickly. Yeah. So
Thanks, Ritash. I'm so glad that in fact you considered me to be part of this, this conversation. I mean, I'd never thought. So yeah, I am really glad that you thought of me and you invited me. I am really thankful
yeah,
for that.
likewise, and I'm so glad. As I said, also I heard of geology as a child because yes, it's my oldest maternal uncle is
Hmm.
the thing. In fact, for his generation also, it seems he says there were other options. Sorry, there were
Hmm.
not too many interesting options I wanted to study, and then I heard that this subject was there. This was in Andhra, Vizag, and this was in the
Hmm.
60s, and he managed to find, and he went up to PhD. So yeah, but that time even for men, boys also it wasn't there apparently. But anyway, and
Hmm.
so sort of yeah. Though I did not pursue any interest in that subject, it was as a child when I had access to uh, s- special samples of rocks and everything that
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
did,
Hmm. Hmm.
and which we preserved for a few years at home,
I
and
still have them. I still have all my samples.
wow,
In
wow,
fact, if my friends go anywhere, right, or if my relatives also go somewhere, I'll be like, oh, please get one stone from
oh,
me from there.
oh yeah, lovely.
And
Okay,
they'll go, yeah, they'll get it.
so
So I still
yeah,
do that.
thank you so much. And then, more power and strength to you. We need people like you not only to support, but to voice and also share about your experience because they say, lived experience
Hmm.
connects, right? More than anything
True.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And then, people who are watching now or later who may be reading captions based on your preferences, or, if you need anything, anytime support, or just want to, express or interact with us, please DM us or leave comments on the recording. And I will be uploading the recording immediately after this, and I will tag you, Vaishali. Thanks so much. Let's
Yeah,
stay
thanks, Ritesh.
connected.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's connect. Yeah, after this as well.
Yes, yes. Okay. Bye
Yes.
bye. All
Thank
the
you.
yeah.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
Wishes to everybody on 14th, 15th, we have National Trans Persons Day. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Jai Bhim, it's
Jai Bhim. Yeah.
Ambedkar Jayanti.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I was going to say that, but thanks for
Hmm.
saying it. Yes. I say Jai Bhim Satrangi Salam.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Take care. All the best. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.